Indeed, let me introduce my next guest. His name is Dr. Julius Oyugi, and he's a professor and a research scientist at the University of Nairobi, a teacher of virology, which is the study of viruses, and also does research on the same topic. Karibu sana to the show. And indeed, I'm asking you guys, what are some of the craziest things you've heard about coronavirus? We're here to debunk some of the myths that have been going around and just correct a lot of the misinformation that has been circling around our city and our country. All right, Daktari, so maybe first of all, just explain. Of course, a lot of us have woken up to hear about coronavirus in the last few days, but maybe have not fully understood it. We were seeing a lot of concern, really, when someone sneezes, when someone coughs, even when someone is a foreigner in the country. We've even seen like attacks towards them. So maybe just explain to us in as simple terms as possible, what is this coronavirus?
Thank you very much for having me. Yes, currently there's a lot of stories about the coronavirus. This coronavirus is a new virus to humans. We know that there are very many coronaviruses, but they actually infect other animals,
Okay.
like birds, camels. But as at last year, the first new human cases were reported in China. And since then, this virus has actually spread in all countries in the world. Basically, the transmission is through droplets. So it colonizes your respiratory tract, the lungs. So if you cough, if you sneeze, then you are likely to throw away the virus in the air.
Yeah.
And so the fear is, how do you acquire it? And so this is where, people are now being advised to, number one, if you are sneezing, usually as Africans, we are used to sneezing with our hands on our mouth.
I know,
Yeah,
terrible.
and that is usually dangerous because when you sneeze, all those germs are in your hands. So when you shake somebody's hand, you actually transfer them to somebody else. So sneezing now, we are encouraging people to sneeze
Into the elbow.
into the elbow.
Not even the shoulder, because you go and hug people and then all that gunk is just here.
Yeah, exactly.
So into the elbow
Into the
is
elbow.
much more appropriate.
Exactly. Yes.
So this, you said, was originally a disease in animals, but it's gone from, I think there was a time where we saw, I guess a lot of people are still stuck on how then it got from animals to human beings, right? And then the spread has been so rapid. Is it because of this droplets? Is it why the spread has been this quick, this soon?
Yeah, so there are a number of viruses which live in animals. And in animals, they actually don't cause disease. But if they have a chance to move from animals to human beings, they are new to our bodies. Our bodies are used to fighting diseases that they know, like flu. Flu is a human disease.
Yeah.
So if you acquire flu, your body is good as protecting you, killing it, and you recover very fast. But this virus, it jumped probably from bats to human beings. And when it came to human beings, it was new to our body. Then the mode of transmission is through droplets,
Yeah.
and usually from hand to mouth. You
Okay.
acquire it from touching something to your mouth.
So when we talk about these droplets,
Yes.
is it like, because a lot of people, we're even scared to talk to one another. Is it only if I sneeze or cough that those droplets are transmitted? Or if you're one of those people who maybe when you talk and unfortunately you spit saliva, I guess, as you're talking, that would be another way. But it's not through like breathing the same air, for example. If people are too close together, would that be a form of transmission?
So if you are very close to someone who is infected, very close, you can actually acquire it from droplets. But a lot of people acquire it by touching the surfaces where these droplets actually land onto.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Or touching your face when you cough, you touch your face, you actually put these viruses onto your face.
Okay.
And every time you touch your face, you greet somebody, you are actually transferring this to
Right.
other people.
Yeah.
And when you go to a computer, you see, these days we are used to typing on
Yes.
computer keyboards. You go and type, you leave the virus there. When you touch the door handle, you actually leave the virus there. When you get into a matatu, you touch the chairs, you leave the virus there. When you handle money, that's why even now as you saw, the president was encouraging that people should try to use more
Mobile money.
M-Pesa kind of transaction to avoid people acquiring this through exchange of money.
Right.
Yeah, so it's more of transmission through droplet aerosols and contact to the infected surfaces.
So with the contact though,
Yes.
I understand that there's some surfaces that hold it, do I say better or longer than others? It sounds like it has a pretty long shelf life though, if it can stay on a surface. And then, you know, between how long, like how long can it stay on a surface basically is what I'm asking.
So there are studies which have been done to look at how long this virus can stay in the environment. Actually, 2 days ago, there was a paper published in New England Journal, and there are scientists who actually took this coronavirus, the COVID-19, and a sister virus called SARS, and they tried to, expose them to different surfaces, like plastics, cupboards, metals. And then they tested, from these surfaces, how long would this virus survive? And they found out that the longest it could survive is up to 72 hours.
Okay.
Now, if you think of 72 hours, assuming that somebody has sneezed in a matatu,
yeah, that's 3 days.
and every 30 minutes, matatu carry people and offload them. They are new people, right? 72 hours is a long time for this thing to stay alive in the surfaces.
Certainly indeed. And let's talk about face masks. Because as soon as coronavirus, started hitting the news, of course, we've been seeing a lot of people, especially in Asian countries, wearing these face masks. There was a very interesting clip. I wish we could have downloaded it, of a lady there saying, "Anataka gloves." I don't know how many people saw that clip, but saying how anataka serikali isaidie, right? And part of it that she was asking for was masks. She was saying, how comes us we've not been given masks? Who needs the masks and who doesn't need masks?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think not everyone should actually be wearing masks. Masks are recommended for people who are at a risk of acquiring this infection.
Okay.
For example, people who work in the hospital environment, they're likely to come into contact to people who are infected. People who go to visit patients in the hospitals, right? If you talk about like taxi drivers, people who go and pick people coming from countries where, there are several cases of coronavirus.
Yeah.
People who are taking care of people who have been tested positive for coronavirus. For example, there are people who test positive and then after a while they are discharged, or there are those who develop mild disease of coronavirus. It is encouraged that such people would actually be wearing masks.
Yeah.
But not everybody, you can imagine how many masks would you provide to 40 million people in a country like Kenya.
That's right.
Yes.
Right. All right. Let's look at a couple other myths that are out there. Right now, even people are concerned about goods or buying anything said made in China. Because they're concerned that that would transfer the virus to them. Is that true or false?
That is not necessarily true. Okay, number one, if you're talking about goods which are, imported from China to Africa, assuming that these goods are in contact with the virus, how long? I just told you that the virus can only stay up to about 72 hours. But even if you look at China now, they've been able to reduce the number of those who are infected drastically.
Yeah.
So the chances of virus getting into contact with these goods are extremely low. And so we should not actually be fearing getting goods from China.
Okay.
Our concern should be are people coming from, areas in China where the virus has really been causing havoc. Yes.
All right. And in terms of how people are now seemingly protecting themselves from the virus, some people are doing crazy things like swallowing or gargling with bleach, taking acetic acid or steroids. Some are using essential oils, salt water, ethanol, other substances. I'm hearing about ginger. You just go and chew ginger or eat ginger. I don't know, boil garlic. Like there's all sorts of things that are going on out there. Do any of those methods work?
To be honest, none of those methods work, by the way. Even currently, what we know is that there is no treatment for this coronavirus.
So
But
you can't be the one who got discovering things
you
in
know,
your
you can't discover on
in
your
your
own.
veranda.
Yeah, saying that if I swallow garlic or if I
Yeah.
eat food with garlic, then I'm protected. None of those is true. For example, garlic, people have actually speculated that if you eat food with garlic, then you are protected from a number of infections. There is no scientific basis on this. Yeah, these are all speculations. But with this virus, I'm telling you that we should not take all those kind of things like bleach,
Yeah, that's
alcohol.
so
Those
harmful.
things, there are some of them are very harmful to your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, so avoid taking such things to
Yeah.
protect you from coronavirus.
Yeah.
There are measures that we can actually take to protect ourselves from coronavirus, and not drinking alcohol, eating garlic.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I guess because at the end of the day, like you mentioned, these droplets, they eventually settle into our respiratory tract. And so it becomes a respiratory disease, right? And so there's a lot of concerns about, people dying from corona, but we also have to understand the context in which those cases have occurred. Because it's on your respiratory system, it's more likely to affect those who are, especially when we hear about people who are older, that they're the ones who are most at risk. Talk to us about that and why that is the case.
Yeah, so the disease basically affects the respiratory tract. This is where the virus actually multiplies and, kill the cells along the respiratory tract. And you're right to say that currently most of the people who have died of coronaviruses are people who are 60 years and above. But if you look at the people who have died, they have other comorbidities like diabetes, heart diseases, but also if we look at, the cases of people who have died with coronavirus, this virus actually causes multi-organ, shutdown. It shuts down your lungs, other organs of the body. Yeah, but people who are elderly are more affected by this virus than others, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if one happens to fall sick from coronavirus, self-quarantine, right? Because there's nothing really the hospitals are going to do for you anyways at this point because there's no cure.
No, I think that's not necessarily right. If you fall sick, so there are different stages of coronavirus. So when you get infected, you could have mild disease.
Okay.
Mild disease is where you present with flu-like symptoms,
Right.
and within a few days, you have actually recovered.
Right.
In such situation, you actually don't need to go to the hospital.
Okay.
But if it progresses to a stage where you become severe, you develop pneumonia.
Yeah, then for sure.
If it persists, you need to go to health facilities.
Okay.
The reason is that you will get better isolation there, and you will be provided with what we call supportive care. Remember, most people who die because of
Other things, diabetes,
Y-
pneumonia.
yeah.
So you're actually treating the diabetes and the pneumonia.
So there is possibility of secondary infection with the bacteria.
Yeah.
So if you are in hospital environment, you'll be given antibiotics, but again, you'll be isolated from other people.
Okay.
Imagine in our setup, if you say self-quarantine, people will come around you, you probably have family members.
Yeah.
That may not be effective in terms of controlling you from spreading it to other people.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So no drinking bleach, no chewing of garlic and drinking ginger concoctions. All we need to do is just wash our hands, sneeze and cough into your elbow, and just maintain good personal hygiene.
Correct.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. for coming on to the show.
Welcome.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for debunking some of these myths for us. And hopefully it will help, to just ease people's tensions right now. Because essentially, if we follow these directives of self-quarantine and, social distancing, that is how we actually protect ourselves, right? So there's no need to go out and be panicking all the time.
Sure.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. All right, guys, we're going to take a short break right now, and we need to get ready for our second hour of the show. Still coming up on Full Circle with Joyce, we're going to be hearing about a person